For more on the protests and law enforcement response, let's bring in ABC News contributor, former NYPD Chief of Detectives, Robert Boyce. Hi, Robert. So we saw in this new video that's out now some new perspective on what happened in those moments right before this shooting. What's your reaction to that? And do you think it affects the analysis of the shooting?
When you look at that, Diane, you dissect it. It's chaotic. It's almost immediate. It happened so fast that really nobody had any time to react properly, that's for sure, because the officer was caught in front of the car. So you see how quickly this thing escalated. And that was the most surprising thing we saw. Exactly, the back and forth with the police and Miss Good and her wife. And this is what you saw, how quickly police work is. And you have no time to think. It's all about training at that point. So that's what I took away from that. Other people had different opinions. But what I saw right there was something that's so immediate, no one had time to think.
Now, this is the perspective of the officer who fired the shots. Is it normal to be filming during an encounter like that?
Diane, nowadays it is. And that's just the way things are now. At protests as well, everybody's filming everybody and holding them to those standards. So you see these all the time there. If they're going to take action, I believe that they were going to arrest Miss Good at that point for obstructing governmental administration. And it's a federal charge, it's a felony. That looks like that was happening when she was asked to leave the car, and then everything ensued very quickly thereafter.
Secretary Noem told Fox News yesterday she's sending hundreds more federal officers to Minneapolis to help allow ICE officers to work and hold people accountable if they impede on operations. Do ICE officers have the jurisdiction to do things like crowd control?
They have the jurisdiction, but they don't have the experience, and that's the problem, Diane. That's not their core mission. So I believe she's sending a lot of those officers there to defend ICE locations and ICE operations, not to increase enforcement, but just secure those locations, because the Minneapolis Police Department are not doing that. They have their hands full. There's no questions. There was a very raucous protest the other night at a hotel where one officer was injured by a chunk of ice thrown at him, hit him in the head. So that's their problem. They're not helping out ICE in their locations. And that's unusual, because in New York and other cities, we do.
Do you think sending more agents will help or hurt the situation in Minneapolis right now?
It's to be determined. I don't think they're going to do more aggressively than what they're doing. And a lot of this is built on the detainer warrants that were denied in Hennepin County and other places along the United States, forcing ICE to do these street operations because they can't address criminal court operations. So that's part of the crux issue here. And unless we have some kind of mitigation on this, it's going to continue. So sending more, we'll see what that happens. I believe it's to support those on the ground now.
Bob, I wanted to ask you about the investigation. State and local leaders are really pushing back on not being included in the federal investigation into that shooting. I know you had originally said it's normal sometimes for the feds to take over and not include state or local officials. They are now saying that originally the FBI had included them and then changed course. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think you want local support, that's for sure. And when the rhetoric rankered up and got worse and worse and worse, the FBI looks like they pulled back because they have confidentiality and they don't want that lost in giving it to the local police or the state police. Now, the BCA seems like a fine organization. They've done this before. They did George Floyd. So that's not the issue, but the politics of the situation seem to have changed that. The feds are citing the Supremacy Clause, which they're allowed to do, which gives them that ability to prosecute and investigate this by themselves.
All right, Robert Boyce, former NYPD Chief of Detectives. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you.